are going to get started here. It is April the 16th, 2018, and we're closing in on the end of the winter Black NSA $1 Million Mastermind. I am so doggone happy to be here, and I'm glad that you guys are here again. Those of you that are here and you've been consistent in attending, just really quickly, just say yes if you've enjoyed this thing so far.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. All right, good. So we start out with a little bit of story, just some reporting in. How has not only the $1 Million Mastermind changed your life, but what are some great things that have been happening for you? And I usually allow people to pop in and pop up, but I'm going to choose Summer intentionally today to tell us a little bit. She did a live a couple of days ago, just sharing some awesome stuff that has been happening for her. So can you share that with us, Summer?
I sure can. Look, I hid myself, so I don't even know how to unhide myself. But yes, I got my article published in NSA magazine. So yes, that's very, very exciting for me. So that's the big thing that came from that. And then because I did it, I leveraged it, which Marquessa will be happy to hear me saying that. I leveraged the article by doing a Facebook Live video where I talked about it. And not only did I talk about the article, but I talked about the backstory behind the article and me quitting my job and how it led to my speaking career, how excited I am. Anyway, that video has really helped some people and inspired some people. And this is something I'll share with you, Robert, and everybody else. It got us a new NSA member. Got us and he will be a part of Black NSA, and I know he's going to be a rock star too. He watched the video, and he's been speaking for a long time, but he watched the video. He said, Summer, you lit a fire inside of me. I went on NSA website and I looked up the information, and he called me and he said, what do I need to do to join? And guess what else he did, y'all? He's already going to Influence, already registered. Already he joined, he's going to Influence, and he's awesome. He's a playwright and an author, and he's a pastor, and he's just a really, really awesome person. But it all came from me doing that Facebook Live video about the article.
Nice.
About the article. So yeah, that was awesome. That was awesome. Yeah, he gave him my name. He gave him my name. So yeah, he was excited about it. He didn't even wait on me. He said, Summer, I'm doing it. I'm doing it. I said, go for it. So you all will meet him. I will definitely be taking him around and introducing him to everybody. And he's a go-getter. He makes stuff happen. So that's exciting. So that's one big thing. That's a real big thing. I'm really thankful for that article too. So thanks, Robert.
Love it, love it, love it. Ooh. Susan says an amazing lesson amplifying great PR and thought leadership. Love it. Excellent. Good stuff. Anybody else want to jump in? What's happening in your world? Go ahead, David.
Hey, I'm so excited. I had the awesome one-on-one time with Ann this weekend. Was just so exciting and just awesome. And I achieved mine. I was did my affirmation for 5,000 for this time, this mastermind, and 2 weeks ago I achieved it. So Robert encouraged me to up it. So I upped it 1,000, and last week I got a contract for 1,200. So hey, I tell you, I love it.
And you still got 2 weeks to go.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. So just really excited.
Yeah, that's the scary thing when you have a number. And either you haven't gotten paid for it yet, or you're just getting used to it, and then somebody says, "Hey, up that thing." Right? Right?
That's right.
Yeah. I mean, so for those of you who haven't gotten to your number yet, the reason that this affirmation is critical, it's important. I remember my very first business coach. I think I've told this story before, but my very first business coach asked me how much did I make per hour. And Wendy wants to share. I got you, Wendy. Well, how much I wanted to make per hour. And I said like $85 per hour, right? And he said, is that number scary? I said, nah, not really. He said, double it. And so I doubled it. And I came, that's what, 170. He said, is that scary? I said, yeah, it kind of is. He said, okay, well, add 85 more onto that. So now we're up at like $250 an hour, right? He says, is that scary? I said, dude, that's impossible. And he says, here's what I want you to do. I want you to write on an index card, my rate is $250 an hour. Pop that thing in front of your computer monitor, and 5 to 10 times a day, I want you to say that out loud. My rate is $250 an hour, until you get the awkwardness out of it. Right? And so I never got up to 250, but there was one day I was doing a call with a client, and they asked what the rate was. And I said, it was like an out-of-body experience. I heard myself saying $175 an hour. And they said, okay, cool. Right? Right? And so this whole time I've been charging $65, $70 an hour, telling myself that I've got to stay with the market, in my area. Come on.
Wow, Robert.
Right? And so I changed my model after that, but yeah, 175 from 65 was ridiculous. So if you've got some trouble with your number right now, that's why the affirmation's important. That's another reason why this affirmation's important. Saying that thing out loud. All right, go ahead, Wendy.
All right, I want to share, first I want to share a big thank you to everybody who supported me as I freaked out. On Saturday, I did a keynote at the University of North Carolina at Pembroke. And this, I was freaking out because my flight from Dallas back to North Carolina on Friday night was delayed tremendously. And I was freaking out because I was afraid the flight was going to be canceled. And I did a shout out, and y'all just stepped up and helped me and gave me support that I needed. So this was a couple of the last hangers on from the speech. And then this is the guy on the left is the guy who brought me to UNC Pembroke to speak. And then the guy on the right, this guy is the head of global diversity at Lenovo. I met him about 3 weeks ago and told him about this presentation. He drove 2 hours to see me, and I introduced these two guys, and they got along thick as thieves. And then I love the photo bombs in the back. So this was a huge win for me, and I have your support to thank for it. Okay.
Excellent. Love it. Love it. Awesome. All right. Good stuff. All right. We have somebody else said that
Monica.
Was Monica? Go ahead.
Monica.
Oh, actually, no, before Monica, Dimitri. Go ahead, Dimitri. Go ahead. Sorry.
So I have always struggled with weight. I used to dance for years. I was a competitive ballroom dancer and all that stuff. And when I quit dancing, I gained all this weight. Well, I finally just made up in my mind that I'm really going to do this, that I can do this. So a couple days before Easter, I started Weight Watchers. So I'm down 6 pounds. So, woo! That's a lot for me, because Lord knows I love some food and I'm a country girl. So pray for me that I can continue this. And then I'll share one more quick thing. I did have a really big meeting with the CEO of a restaurant company here, and he owns over 600 restaurants across America, and talked to him about some of the programs that I currently have in place. He's interested. So I'm in the talks about a proposal with him. So trying to get that together. But that's what's going on with me.
Yeah. Excellent. All right. All right. Go ahead, Monica.
I received a call today from the owner of one of our top radio station talk show stations today, talk radio, I should say. And I was asked to do a radio show, whatever I want to talk about.
Nice. Beautiful.
Wow.
That's awesome. So now you got to figure out how to leverage the heck out of that thing.
Yes.
With everything else that you're doing. So, yeah. All right. Allison, come on. Go ahead.
Thank you, Monica. You just reminded me that I was also invited to do a radio show over the weekend. I was at a business speaking workshop, and I actually got up and did my opening. And I got a lot of really, really, really good feedback on how natural it was, and my smile and my energy and my comfortability and charisma up on in front of 60 people. And then somebody came up to me afterwards. Actually, a bunch of people came up to me afterwards that they need my tech services, and one person asked me to be on her radio show. So, yay!
Awesome. Excellent. Excellent. All right. I absolutely love hearing the wins. A lot of times we get these wins and we kind of gloss over them, and we don't celebrate ourselves enough. So I just want to encourage everybody, even with the ones that seem real small to you in your mind, celebrate them, say them out loud, share them, so that you can encourage yourself on the journey. And as you do that, you encourage others as well, because you see Monica shares her stuff. Allison now says, oh yeah, by the way, so let's share our wins with each other and out loud. All right. So, Anne, it is your time. We're 6 Ghosts of Fear this week. Go ahead and lead us in, Anne.
Well, this is, I think, the aha moment for me. I was reading this, unfortunately, right before I was retiring. So needless to say, I went to bed and dreamed about the ghosts of fear. And I would not suggest this to anybody, but what it forced me to do was to actually, as a part of the reading, I did some additional reading on when we have fear, what is it that we do? How do we deal with the fear? Because it's easy to read the book, and it's easy for all of us to sit here and talk about, what we've read and what we think. But what is it that we actually do? And so what I found for myself, and I found it in a book I'm reading called Prosperity by Charles Fillmore. And it talks about how the unconscious mind and the conscious mind, how they operate in dealing with fear. We really should consider taking the time to do 3 things. Number 1, the time to meditate. Number 2, the time to have, he says silence. I call it unbroken silence for a long period of time. Now, long period of time can be whatever you want it to be for you. But number 3, and we find this in my other favorite book called The Word, Dealing with Fear, and that is to speak life over whatever it is that may be a fear. And so what I wanted to do today, as we approach the end of this, is sharing my story, because of course I got up and I dealt with that as a part of my journaling. But I also realized that very often in the subconscious mind, we have fears that we aren't even aware of. And sometimes when we journal feelings, right, those things come up. But oftentimes we don't get to the feeling until we are in, I call it unbroken silence. Unbroken silence. So it's a very deep chapter. And what I'd like to do is come to all of you to find out if there are any aha moments from the reading before we get ready to break out into into our groups. Any aha moment from anybody? I think you're talking, Doris. You're on mute. No. Still on mute.
I gotta be in now.
Okay, that's great. Great.
I did have an aha moment, and one of the things that I realized that I'm fearful of is criticism. And not the kind of criticism where you may say to me, oh, Doris, I don't think this sounds right. But just in this era that we're in, where criticism is so vicious and so viral, where people are not, they just don't want to let you know that you're wrong, or that they don't think you're doing something right. They want to let the world know about it. And that just bothers me, that in terms of writing something that I think about or want to get out there, of just what that reaction may be from people who disagree with it or disagree with me or don't like me. And I'm fearful of that. I mean, I look at today, this whole campaign against James Comey by the president, that whole Twitter thing, and it's on social media, and it's just so vicious, and that scares me.
Okay, and we can talk about this I'm not sure where Robin's going to put me, but let me assume that we may not be in the same group. I think you're the person that memorized that self-confidence formula.
Yes.
Do you use it, Doris?
I do. I read the formula every morning and every evening, and it's worked for me too. Sometimes I've been in situations and words from the self-confidence formula will come up automatically. Mm-hmm. So I'm prayerful, if I can use that word, yes, that as time goes on, that formula will help alleviate this fear of criticism. But right now, I'm just sharing that I had an aha moment that's what I'm really afraid of.
Wow. And what do you suggest? What do you think, in addition to what you just shared, or anybody else that that might be helpful in overcoming that? Because I know what the book says here on page 250 of my version for the symptoms of fear of criticism.
First of all, I think I'm aware of it, more aware of it than I've been before. And I have been journaling. So I write down that what is the worst that could happen? And so I'm trying to work back from that.
Now, you know what they say, what is the percentage of that actually happening?
I have no idea.
It's minuscule. Mm-hmm. Would everybody else agree with that? You know, whatever it is we think could be the very, very worst, it's really minuscule, the percentage of that actually happening. But when I just share a story. Many years ago, I was in network marketing business and running like a good 20-hour days, right? And not looking how I should look. And a guy, I don't know if anybody ever heard of Tim Foley, used to be a football star with Miami Dolphins. Anyway, he was a part of our upline, and he said to me one day, he was complimenting me, and my response was a negative response because my self-image was not where it needed to be. And again, I took it as a criticism. He meant it as a compliment, but then I took a lot of things as a criticism. And he said something to me that changed the way I really looked at myself and also looked at how I responded to people who were criticizing me. And he said, Ann, it was really a compliment, a simple thank you would have done, right? Yeah. Immediately after that, I did come in contact with somebody who was literally, seriously, honestly criticizing me, right? You look pretty tired. You know, you really look bad. It's just a comment. I mean, right after what he had said. And from that day to this day, this is my response, and this is just me. Thank you for that compliment. Compliment. I'm sorry, I didn't mean that as a compliment. But see, I choose to receive that as a compliment because for the mere fact you're saying, I look like this, and I look like that, I look like this, says to me, I am doing exactly what I need to be doing, which is hustling. Now, I don't have the makeup and all that other stuff, you know, the glamour look, but I'm hustling. Now, what that did for me was to empower me. Why? Because we cannot choose what people say, but we can choose how we internalize these words, right? And speak power and life over our own life. Because remember, our subconscious mind does not know the difference between what's true and what's false. It only knows what we tell it. And that's what this chapter of the 6 Ghosts of Fear is about. We tell ourselves about these fears. And then the more we tell it, the more we give it energy and the more it grows, right? It's a ghost.
Right.
It's a ghost, as simple as that. But thank you so much. Anybody else? I guess we'll wait till we get in.
I had the same kind of ahas as she did. Sorry, Susan, we jumped in at the same time.
Go for it.
You know, that it was neat going through all the 6 different fears and then saying, okay, well, this one doesn't relate to me. I don't really relate to it. But this one, wow, yes. But clarity contrast leads to clarity. Clarity leads to power.
And confidence.
So knowing, wow, that's a fear, I get it, and false evidence appearing real, knowledge is power, and it was just great. It was a great read.
Okay, thank you. Was that Wendy, or who else was trying to say? Susan?
So I have a question. Well, I wanted to share. I'm just finishing 16 hours of travel trying to get back from Reno, and I had 5 hours of turbulence overnight on a red eye, and I'm not a good flyer anymore. And every time I hit a bump, I was just like, I, Susan Lindner, will have X number of dollars in my bank account. I'm like, I think the woman next to me thought I was nuts because like it just kept getting louder as the turbulence kept going. I just kept saying my affirmation. I didn't have anything else in my head to say. So I think I'm done for the week because I think I got about 50 in there. But just on the flight.
But how did it work though for you?
Oh, I came off the plane and I'm a millionaire now, and it's done. If only.
But in all seriousness, even though we're laughing about this, remember, you were programming your subconscious mind, and probably all of the minds around you who know that okay. And oftentimes we don't really realize that the spoken word that come out of our mouth are going into 2 ears of the other person and ours. And so, so the negative oftentimes can be as strong, if not stronger than that positive. And that's why, going back to what Robert said about affirming and affirming and affirming until we do believe it. And I go back to what Robert said earlier too. Oftentimes it is our self-image that needs to come up here to match what the belief should be. Because oftentimes the client see us here and we see ourselves here. Yeah. We see ourselves here. The client sees ourselves here. Us here. Yeah. So
my question for this portion was, because I certainly relate to some of the fears, fear of poverty, fear of criticism. What struck me is, why isn't the fear of success one of these fears? Why is that? Because it seems like sometimes, we play small. Like the fear of criticism may not be the fear of criticism at all. It's the fear of what we could actually become when we declare it to be true, as you say.
Now,
I'm
sorry.
Susan, do you feel like, I feel like for me, that fear of success is kind of locked in with the fear of like loss of love, because if people see you that separate from them, you know what I mean? It's like, oh, you're so successful and rich, it's like, that, to me, that's where that kind of, because I said the same thing to myself, and I feel like that the reason that I don't want to be too successful is because then I'm I love them,
Yeah, now going back to Chris's point and your question, Susan, and I was just going to respond by saying in the very beginning of the chapter, he tells us that there are a lot of other fears, but they can be grouped in these 6, right? And so when Chris came on and said that, and you can put them wherever you want to put them, but 6 was the number he chose, right? So with that, Robert, I'm not sure what the time is. Time is giving us, so we can.
Yep, we're right at about time. We've got 2 minutes before 6. So if you can just kind of give everybody their marching orders.
Right. Well, what I'd like to do, actually, if each of you would not mind, if you can go to the very end of the 6 goals. There's some questions at the very end again. In the self-analysis, everybody has that, right? Self-analysis questions. So hopefully if we can, within the group, start going through these questions and support each other in the answering of those questions. Now, Robert, I'm not sure if Marquessa has actually talked about next week, because for those of us that have this version of the book, I would like to continue unless she has something else that she wants to cover.
Well, we're kind of tag teaming this week, so Marquessa will be on for the last half.
For today or next week?
Today.
Okay, so we can ask her that question then.
Yeah.
All right, because I would like to go to the appendix if that's possible. But anyway, we'll wait till she comes back.
Yep.
All right, so if we can go to the questions, Robert, would be great.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. So we are getting ready to rock and roll. So Ann will be first with Wendy's group today, and then she'll move to David's group right at about 6:20. So we've got about 40 minutes today. 6 o'clock on the nose, and we will.
Oh, Robert. Right.
Yep.
Oh, okay. For the groups that I'm not in, and I know you're going to be going through, but if each of you, if somebody would just start going through those questions, and you can take them in order, or if, I'm not sure who has actually gone through the questions, because there are a lot of them. I think there's like 50 some odd questions, actually 61. So if there's a question that you'd like to get support from your group versus going through them in chronological order the way they appear, I think that would be very helpful, because again, going back to, and I think Allison said it, some of the fears may relate to you, some of them may not, but I think in through the questions, it helps to bring those up. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Excellent. So let me just double check. We'll start Ann and Wendy's group. All right, cool. All right, so here we go, people. You've got 39 minutes now. And as Ann said, she's giving you instructions. I won't repeat it. So take time, lock in with each other, and have fun. See you in the 40 minutes.
Hey, you may want to stop recording. You're muted right now. Boom. How did your sessions go?
I want to go back.
Well, you will have one final chance next week to meet in your group. So you want to definitely be here nice and sparkly, which is great. And I did hear everything from the first call, and absolutely, because I was wondering about that. Because guys, I don't know if you know this, we're having our normal mastermind from 5:30 to 7, but from 7 to 8 is celebration. You know, it is it's our celebration time. We do all sorts of things. I haven't made the agenda yet, but this is where your facilitators will also kind of share their stars and what everyone did and all that wonderful stuff. So next week, please be here and you will have your final chance to get with your mastermind. So Anne, here's a great question for you for next week, or for when they meet in their group. Is there a suggestion for something that they may want to prepare to cover or talk about in their group the last time that they're together next week?
Well, what I would like to see, and I first was asking if we could finish the book, but anyway, we can still finish the book, the appendix of the book, if everybody would not mind doing that as a homework. But going to your question, Marquessa, what I'd like to do is if we can go back from the very beginning, if everybody, and I usually take notes, and I'm sure for those of you who have been here for the last 8 or 9 weeks, you know where you were when you started. But if we can bring that up, but in writing. And so I don't know if you want to put it in the Facebook group, or if you want to put it in the notes, or Marquessa, if there's a place that they can put it. I think that it's important as we begin to document our progress, not just for Black NSA, but for you individually. One of the things that was very helpful for us when I got the call from Napoleon Hill Foundation about the book, they were going to republish the book and bring it up to date. They said, you know, when we did our research, your name just keeps coming up all over the place. And so I said to the guy, I said, well, you know, I drew you to me. He said, what do you mean? I said, 5 years ago, our mastermind group, we set a goal to be published in the book. He said, you're kidding me. I said, wait. Now, you are the publisher of the book, right? How could you not believe this? We wrote a goal. He kept saying, I don't, in essence, I don't believe you. I said this. I said, well, we documented everything since day one. He said, you're kidding me. I said, no, we documented everything. Why? Because we, on an annual basis, we turned in our life report, and they started out like this, and they eventually got to be this thick. So again, for Black NSA, I want to encourage us to document, going to your question, Marquessa, and this will help, I believe, with the credibility of Black NSA in terms of the progress. See, we have it on audio and we have it on Zoom, but whatever's going on in the small groups from week to week to week, that's not recorded.
Oh, I'm going to get it recorded next week. You just gave a great idea. So when I pop in, it'll be the last number and a quick thing from the whole group. So brilliant idea.
Right. But document it in writing, right, everybody? But for your own sake, to be able, and there's some people who are masterminding that this may be their second and some even third mastermind group. And if we were to be able to see where you were in the very beginning, and for some of you, you're going to come back again. And next year, this time, when you look back to where you are now, and Dave and I were just talking about the car and the brakes, you know, as our self-image grows and our self-confidence grows, everything else grows and we grow up to that. Whereas if you, going back to the fears, if you're here and your confidence is here, those two things are out of alignment, if you will. But when you can actually see in writing, and that's why journaling and documenting your progress is so important. But that's what I would like to suggest, Marquessa, that would be very exciting to wrap this up with a bow, to have everybody, and it can be in whatever format they want. You know, my goal was here. You know, the 6 steps, these were the 6 steps. These were my answers to the 6 steps. This is where I started. This is where I am. However, you know, And you tell us, Marquessa, what vehicle would be the best way for them to maybe go to the Facebook page and put it in the notes, because you can. You created files for us on the Facebook page and the group, and maybe they just create a document and upload the document to the files, or you tell us what's the best.
I think that's a great idea. I would part of me feels like you guys can all upload your documents separately, but then I think it'll get lost sort of. But maybe you can kill two birds with one stone, although we don't kill birds. Upload a document with that so that you have it. That way, just like Ann says, you're doing it primarily for yourself, but you're sharing it with us. But I would love, what I'm going to do or have Krista do is create one file document that says, please tell us in a few words what the last 90 days has been like for you, and I put, I'm still making notes, but I'm putting some things here, but I'll be very specific, and I would love you guys to all share it in a row. So do your own document and upload it. That's fine too. But I would like a place so that a person can come and say, wow, I get to read them all in a row. This was Doris, this was David, this was Monica, and so on and so forth. Would that work, Ann?
Yes, definitely. Definitely. And it might be something we want to start implementing, though, Marquessa, moving forward. Yeah. Because again, as people, especially people who've gone through the process, and we've all seen the growth. But to document it now, not just on the video on Zoom, but also in print.
Oh, I love that. And you're reminding me, guys, I would love between then and now, there may just be a special something in it for you at Influence. And even if you're not going to Influence, we'll figure out how to take care of you if you can do it. And I always ask you to do this, but people have every intention, and then the mastermind ends and I have to beg you for it. So I'm putting a hard deadline on it, because I'm going to assume after the mastermind is over, it's not going to happen. But if you can do a video, and just like Ann said, the video is not just for us to attract new members. We want the right people in the mastermind, because this is not a one-time thing. I'm thinking you're going to go through this book often. You're going to have a different goal every time. This is not just about one. This is not a lesson or a school. This is your way to show up in your business every day and know that you're not by yourself, but to also have a curriculum and the brilliant facilitator of that curriculum, along with, your whole tribe, to help you get to that next level. So your goal is going to be different the next time we do this in the fall. So if you can get in front of that video camera and say, hi, my name is Lisa Davis, and I was in, the Winter Mastermind, and I tell you, I joined it for this reason, and this is where I was when I joined it. This is where I'm at now. And this was the big shift for me in this mastermind, and I recommend it because X, Y, and Z, something along those lines. Does that sound good? Are you guys, who's willing? Now I'm going to get you on video now. Who is willing to do a video that shows this? Raise your hand right now so I can hold you accountable. Come on, raise it up so I can see it.
Yeah, all take a picture.
Yeah, there you go. Now I'm going to trust that if you raised your hand, you're going to do it. Some of you have already done it, but please, if raise your hand, we would love for you to do it, and we'll do something special for you as a thanks. But you never know. Just like Summer said earlier, I heard her. She shared what she did with the magazine, and it's a beautiful thing to be in that magazine. You never know who's going to read it, and she shared it on her Facebook. She shared it via Facebook Live, and somebody said, you know what, I've been on the fence about joining NSA, and I already speak, but I would love that support, that community. You guys heard her. And then this person put out a lot of money, all from hearing Summer do that. They made a big jump into NSA, all from hearing Summer say that. So you never know who your video is going to reach, right? That's why some of y'all are here, because somebody's video. So please be willing to kind of give back. It also helps out Black NSA. To do that video. So thank you for that. So these are my 6 steps. This is how I'm different. My goal was here. These are my 6 steps. This is how I'm different. Any other piece I'm leaving out there, Ann, with what they're documenting?
No, I mean, if you want to stretch, you can, and you can also say, this is where I'm going.
Ooh, ooh.
That's the thought. I mean, it's like the car, David.
I love it.
That's right. That's right.
I'm on the brakes right now, but this is where I'm going.
Hey, I hear you. I hear you.
So guys, copy and paste that. That way you're not sitting up here. I know you're group folks, leaders will put that down, but copy and paste it right now. So you have that whole piece down. Does that look good? Yes. Fabulous. Great. One other quick thing before Ann gets into appendix and homework from next week. Also, the $97 rate, which we go up. I think people have paid as much as $147 to get into this thing. So again, it can be a completely different goal. I'm going to hold that open until next Monday by the end of the mastermind. After that, and I'm going to tell a team member to go into Constant Contact and change that to, like 110 or something. So just so I can keep my word with that. I want to honor the people that make sure that they get in at the right time. So if you want to do 97, that's your rate. Again, we do go through these steps, but we're focusing on something different for you. Your goal is up to you. So just want to let you think about that now. Normally I mentioned on the last call, then people have to think it through. So the whole experience. We'll pick it up. It may be, other people. You'll more likely be in a different group, different facilitator. We don't know. We're putting all those things together. Here is something really important too. If you're planning to be an Influence 18, how many people are going for sure? Raise your hands. Yes, yes. And then how many people are still kind of thinking about it? Raise your hand. I want you to be by yourself. All right. Well, if you can get there, you want to get there, guys, for lots of reasons. But wouldn't it be great to see your mastermind? I changed the timing a little bit. I think David is gonna be the person putting together the mastermind for us in Influence. So he's gonna update you. But again, it's gonna be the day after conference. Conference ends on that Tuesday. So it's gonna be that Wednesday. Plus you don't want to fly out that Tuesday. We have stuff going on all night long. And Black NSA, all community groups are gonna have special programming on Tuesday. So you don't want to fly out anyway. So it's easy. And then we're going to go to Texas Stadium. I'm from Texas. It's freaking awesome. So we're going to do something Tuesday evening, all over NSA. And then so you want to wake up Wednesday morning and guess what you're going to do after you check out of your room. Then I think it's about it. I don't have the schedule in front of me. I think I said 10 to, I don't remember. But I think the Black NSA executive team, along with Board of Advisors, are going to meet for breakfast. And I think we're going to meet from 8:30 to 10. And then I think the mastermind, and don't quote me, I don't have it here. The mastermind is going to go from 10:30 to like 1-ish or 10:30, 11:30 until I think 12:30. I think we're doing 2 hours instead of 3 hours. So you're kind of sharing with us what's happened since now. Since this date, or since when we're in April the 20th, whatever date that is. And then this is all the way July something. You think you're going to have something to share by then? Yeah. See each other in person. So what has happened since then? And then also, since you were in attendance and Influence, how are you taking it to the next level? What was that strategy in that workshop that you pulled out that you're going to work on? I'm going to tell you, it's so cool going to Influence, but it can be freaking overwhelming. Am I right, guys? There's a lot of moving parts, a lot of different places to go. You meet a lot of people. It's a lot going on, and it feels so good to know, oh, I'm not worried. I got it all listed down, and it's someone in my mastermind, after this is all over, I'm going to tell them what I did, and I'm going to hold them accountable. They're going to hold me accountable. We're going to share which sessions we went to. Again, David is going to lay it all out, so he may reach out to you to come up with the actual agenda for that. But I would really recommend that you're there. So good, you get to leverage this investment. Isn't that fabulous? Yeah. And then right after the mastermind is over, we're going to have a town hall meeting and there will be lunch. So we'll talk about, there will be a small fee to accommodate the lunch, and we'll send all that out as well. And there's other things going on during the actual conference. But in terms of Wednesday, mastermind, and then town hall. Town hall just means, hey, I'm a part of the Black NSA community. I care about, NSA, and I want to participate, or I want to make a suggestion, or have we thought about doing this or that? Hey, this mastermind wouldn't be here if it wasn't for Ann sending me an email. It wouldn't be here. Ann said, hey, I have something I want to offer to Black NSA. I think it would be great. Voila. How many masterminds are we in?
I think it's the fourth or fifth.
Fourth or fifth one. If you include the demo one, we're 5 in.
It's 5.
5 in. All because Ann decided to send an email to me to say, hey, why don't we try to do this within Black NSA? So you never know what you guys can contribute. Does that sound good?
Sounds good. Right.
So next week, what's the timing? It's 5:30 to 7. And we'll share with you what's happening there. And then from 7 to 8 is celebration. And then we'll say goodbye to each other. Oh my God. At 8 o'clock. So Ann, what should we prepare for next week?
What I would like to suggest, we finish the book for those who are interested and for those who have an appendix. For some of us, we have an appendix at the end of the book, and it goes from Appendix A to Appendix I. And there are just that appendixes and stories. Now, I'm not sure how many of you actually did the end notes while you were reading this version, or
What's an appendix? What should the appendix look like? I see end notes. I'm thinking the appendix is the end notes. No,
I don't have an appendix in there.
I don't have an appendix. I have end notes. Anybody else? Does anyone have the appendix?
see, it looks like this.
I'll have to put on my glasses. Let me see.
Yeah.
Oh, what page is that on, Ann?
In my version, it is page 200 and, wait, let me start at the beginning.
77.
I see epilogue.
Yeah, I have the appendix.
Yeah, it's right after the epilogue.
277, thank you, 277. And here's the
Okay, I have it.
appendix.
Huh?
See, now she's making my point. We never get this far. So for Marquessa to finally see this. And mind you, this has been the shortest mastermind. So in the fall, we have an extra 2 weeks, and we normally don't get
That's true.
So I really want to thank everybody for hustling with the reading, because we really covered a lot of material. And I think that all of you can attest to the fact that you can get on one page and be on one page for a week. So we went through a lot of information, and now I'm asking if you would read all of the appendix before you return. And again, and then the end notes, really, if we really took the time, and we could do this in the fall, as you read the book, go back to the end and look at the end notes and see how the information has been updated. It gives you a whole different perspective on the book.
Wow.
But because we went so fast, we really didn't talk about the end notes. We didn't talk about the appendix. We finally got through the 6 Ghosts of Fear, which we seldom have ever done. So it's a lot of information. But again, I think that all of you can see that the work is on me. You know, we can talk about speaking, we can talk about all these different things, but if we're not willing to do the work on ourselves, then what impact is that going to have on my self-image and my self-confidence in my business? And it shows when you stand up to speak. Are you right? So now, Monica, I noticed you have a different version. So you have both? Oh, you do? Perfect. Okay. All right. So some people have workbooks and things like that, but I think that the work is work. That's the work. That's the work. All right. That's it for me.
All right. Well, real quick, let's hear from we're going to close out with the group leaders telling us one small thing. It could be focusing on what you guys did as a group. Let's keep it nice, short, and tight. Thanks for staying over. The groups went a little longer, but I'll open up to group leaders. David, why don't we start with you?
All right, the winners group, I'm so excited for Doris and Monica. Both of those ladies started out this mastermind with 0. And Monica has exceeded and moved over 100, and Doris has moved to 82%. So I'm just so proud of those two ladies. They have done well, and it's just been an honor every week spending time with them and touching base with them. So just proud, just very proud of them.
Oh, yeah. Look at you guys doing your thing. Awesome, awesome, awesome. And Wendy, what about your group?
We had some great insights this week. We have all moved the needle significantly, and we talked about how when there are times, some of these questions, you know, bringing up some of our weaknesses and acknowledge them, and talked ourselves, supported each other through thinking about how to address our weaknesses and how to keep the faith in when we hear crickets or when we don't get something. We had a lot of similarities, and we are all stronger because of our bond. Right, ladies?
Yeah. Well, what's the name of your group again? Come on,
we are the five faithful, fiercely faithful phenoms.
All right, then.
Yes, Wendy, yes.
Very good. And you guys have grown by leaps and bounds, I must say. It's so impressive, Ann, and I know you see it, is to see not only folks come year after year or mastermind after mastermind and see them just grow and leap. I have to say, Wendy, whoa. David, whoa. And it's funny because they come in the first time and they're okay and they're moving up a little bit. And then the second or third mastermind, they're like, oh, I got this, see. So it's interesting. I just love it. And I'm noticing and I'm just ecstatic over that. Great job. All right. So my next leader, Susan, where are you, honey? You're in the dark, girl. Can't see ya. But Susan, I want to just say real quick, thank you. Susan put me on the spot. I went in her group to say, how y'all move the needle? And before I could get it out, she said, so what's your affirmation? I was like, who? She said me. I'm like, okay. So I had to give my affirmation and she asked me what my fears was. And I'm like, okay, so it was good. So thank you. You took me, you raised me up here. I appreciate that, Susan. It was very sweet. So tell me about your group, my dear.
So we went around and talked about each one of those fears, and then we also held each other accountable to how we're going to address the fear. We identified people in our mastermind, in our personal life, in our professional life who could support us to overcome the fear, and how could we very specifically ask for help of those individuals to help support us through the fear and plant the messages in our subconscious that would make us ripe for hearing it and receiving it and implanting it in our subconscious. So then, and we also said we would hold each other accountable to at least one specific task to overcome the fear, to take one bold move, one concise action to address the fear and overcome it. So that's what we're holding each other accountable to for next week.
I love it. And it's so funny to think like, I ain't dealing with any of those fears, but Susan had a way of really breaking it down where, yeah, there's some of that in there where you have to really look at all sides and see, really, am I being honest? Is there some type of, what is the fear in there? I love that. I reread the chapter. I want to make sure I was prepared. So that was good. Very, very good. And Ursula, are you running Havela's group? You're muted right now. You're still muted. Let me unmute you. Okay, there you go. Say it again.
Okay. We had a great conversation, quite frankly. We talked about some of the things that we looked and we answered the questions and acknowledged that we were imperfect people, but there was room for growth. And one of the things I liked is that we asked each other, what could we do to help with individual challenges? And some great interaction happened at that point where all three people had advice to give to each one of us. So that was really good. Dealing with personal fears, personal objections, things that could knock us off our feet and how to keep going. That was discussed. And we acknowledged that we were sad about not meeting after next week. That was a great realization as well. And that we have a mutual admiration society going on for the people in this entire group, in that everyone seems to be so accomplished. And having said that, then we said, get over it. We're individuals. You do what you do for yourself and compete with yourself basically and move as you can move and celebrate the people that are here as opposed to compete with or compare to. So those.
There you go. And these become lifelong friendships. I don't know if you realize that. You get to know people. You start to say, hey, can we meet more? One thing Ann encourages us to do is continue to meet, and continue to talk. Set up your own time that you're going to do this. So instead of looking at it as an ending, look at it as, all right, how can I keep this momentum? Right, Ann?
Exactly. And I'm actually still in the first mastermind group.
Get out of here.
No, we're still meeting every week.
Wow.
That's what I'm talking about. Good. All right, guys, we went extremely over. So was this good? Did you guys like this? Is this fabulous? Yes. Let's get a group picture. I always love to get a picture. Raise it. Anybody, does everyone have their books? No? Do we have our books? If so, yeah, someone had this idea. I don't know who it was. And I want to just do it because I had a fresh manicure for this. So I'll share our books. Only things I've got to realize, I normally need 2 fingers to do this thing. All right, Control V, boom. So I've got to figure out how to, let me grab it. All right, cheese and, oh, this is hard. All right, here we go. Cheese, 1, 2, 3. Yes, money. All right, we got that. Cool. All right, before we close out our final word, I'm leaning toward one of our group leaders, really because I'm so inspired, impressed, and just overall happy about her progress, guys. She is truly owning her world in the professional, she's owning her space in the professional speaking world. So Wendy will close us out.
Well, thank you. I am owning my place as a professional speaker because y'all have helped me grow. We are all growing here. We are all seeds that are where some of us are planted firmly in the ground and others of us are in the process. Some of us have bloomed already, but we are continuing to bloom. We are all seeds and will continue to grow, and we will grow perennially, which means we will keep coming back and growing stronger, better, brighter. We have amazing messages that this world needs. We need to hear what you have to say, and I can't wait to hear it. Y'all have a great week.
Bye, y'all. Bye. Have a great week, guys. Bye-bye.
You too.